Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of English 120. This week, we are going to be reading chapter 1 in the Bedford Researcher. Hopefully, you've gotten your book by now. They are available at the bookstore. Doesn't matter if you have an ebook or a standalone book, either way, you're in good shape. You're going to need to go to the library during this week. You need to visit, get a library card, and you're going to be looking through the online databases. So you're going to need to know how to get on the online databases, and I'll be talking about that in this lecture. The assignments you need to complete. And just want to be clear that there's always going to be 2 deadlines in this class, okay? So don't be surprised when I'm asking you, when I say you're late, if you don't turn it in by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So whenever we have a conversation, a discussion forum, you are expected to post your initial post by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. and then to respond to at least 3 of your peers' posts by 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday. This week we're gonna also be doing another journal entry, and that will be due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. And you'll be taking a research quiz. Again, remember you get 2 tries, and that will be on about research. So it just kind of introduces the idea of research and introduces you to chapter 1 of the Bedford Researcher. It's been so nice getting to know so many of you in the online discussions. Thank you for participating, and I appreciate the time you spent in our class the first week. I do want to remind you that beginning this week, I'll be monitoring to make sure that enough people are watching this lecture, and I will put in little secrets at the end that you will have to get to and tell me in order to get credit. I will also be looking at the stats of how many people have watched it to make sure we're on track. I do that because the only way to pass this class is to actually watch the lectures. You have to get the information that I'm trying to teach you. So please just take the time. They won't be that long, and usually, eventually, I will get my voice back, I hope, so I won't sound so weird when you're listening to the lectures. But anyways, this week we're reading chapter 1 in the Bedford Researcher. So one of the topics that you'll be talking about in this chapter is how can you research and write with confidence? So one way to think about it, a lot of us are new to actual research writing, but one way to think about it is to compare it to how you would join a conversation. Like all of us have been to a party or been in a situation where a lot of people are talking, and you want to, usually before you start talking, you'll listen to the conversation and see what people are talking about. You don't want to just like run in and be like, hey guys, right? You want to make sure that what you have to say relates to what other people are saying, even if you are thinking differently than everyone who is having that conversation. So there's no reason to feel uncomfortable becoming writing research, because really it's just like walking up to a group of people and joining the conversation. So when you are going to begin writing about a topic, you want to begin by reading about a topic or an issue, just as you would normally listen before you begin speaking. And you want to make sure you're reading about that issue in places where the people who are speaking are authoritative, are people who actually you know that they know what they're talking about, right? So one way to do so is to use sources like the ones that you find at a place like the library. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But if you just Google, for example, if you're searching on natural disasters and you just Google it, you're going to find things that are uncurated, meaning there's no way to know if they have authority or not. They haven't been fact checked. Yeah, so basically, what you're going to be learning how to do in this class is how not to just Google things, how to actually put the work into researching something. And that's going to the library and finding the right places to look to find people having conversations about your topic. A good place to always start is to go to the Encyclopedia Britannica or some other World Book encyclopedia. Some encyclopedia is a good place to start. That's a place where you know it's a signed entry. It's got information that you can use, that the source is somebody who has a degree in that area and has researched in that area. Then once you've done your research, you want to think carefully about what you've just read. Just like if you would think carefully about what you've just heard in a conversation, right, before you contribute to it. And then you want to look for something new that you could share with the other participants in the conversation. What insight do you have that you could bring to the conversation? And then once you've done that, then you want to draft and share your contribution. There's a table with this information written in it on page 5 in chapter 1, which I think is really useful because this is how I'd like you to think about going about doing any sort of research for this class. The other thing that I want you to think about is how to gather this information that you're going to be, how you're going to log this information that you're going to be gathering throughout the semester. And one way is to create a research log. This is a place where you keep all of the research you've done throughout the semester. And you are going to need somewhere to do this. And we'll be coming back to this over the next few weeks. But for when I do research, I use notebooks. I really like notebooks, and I use those along with file folders as a place to keep my research, especially on larger projects. I just finished writing a biography on a woman named Charmian Kittredge London, who was the author Jack London's wife. And it was about 5 years of research, so it was a lot of research, and I had lots of notebooks. And that's useful because when you go back to check a citation you've done, or to find out, to relook at a point that you've made, you have your notes in order and in well cataloged so that you can find what you're looking for. Other things you can do is you can have file folders or just a file on your computer. People like to use note cards as well, like little tiny note cards that they can put in boxes as a way to catalog their information. Or you can just take notes on your phone, but make sure that you are saving them somewhere. Or if you like to talk and you don't sound like me, you can use a voice recorder. So back to understanding the rhetorical nature of writing situations. When you do begin writing, you want to remember that readers have biases, right? They have purposes behind their writing, they have roles that they play, and they have biases. So you really want to think about the fact that you are always writing and understanding both sides of an argument, because what we're writing in this class is argumentative research papers. You should be thinking about, if you're making a statement that takes one side, you also need to understand fully the other side. And your writing should build on the work of others. One of the most important ways that writing resembles a conversation is in how you take turns in a conversation, right? So if I'm talking right now and then you talk over me, you're not going to hear what I have to say, right? And vice versa. It's important that you want to be able to build on what you want to listen to what other people have said. You want to take notes and understand what's been written in the past, and then refer to them, quote them, and build on what they've said as a way to make your argument. And then you want to understand and manage your research writing process as you're going along, and that includes thinking about being flexible as you are actually writing your paper, right? You want to know that you're going to find some facts and they might take you to another direction, and you want to revise your thesis and your ideas based on that. And then just managing your research project, which is what we'll be talking about later, is really important. This is a long journey, and the more organized you are and the more you rely on a timeline, the better off you will be. The other thing I want to talk about is your academic voice. So when we write in an online classroom, it's important to remember that we are using an academic voice. This is a more formal voice than the voice that we'd use if we were talking to our friends, right? Um, Spelling and grammar always counts. You need to use full sentences. You need to use evidence whenever you support your claim. So if you say something, you need to be able to back it up with evidence. And you always, always want to be respectful. We are trying to create a learning environment where we all feel comfortable, right? And where we encourage one another to take risks in our writing. So please be respectful of one another. All right, so one of your activities this week is you are to visit the McCarthy Library. You can visit virtually by going to the home page of Napa Valley College and clicking on at the top of the page, there's a little tab that says Library. Click on that and it'll take you to this page here, right? If you click on McCarthy Library, that will take you to this page right here. Over the course of the week, you need to click here to apply to register for an online library card. You can also go to the physical library itself right here on campus and get your library card there. You're required to get a library card by the end of the week, and this is something that you will only hear about on the lecture. So it is your Easter egg. You need to show me proof of that library card as part of your journal to get full credit. So that can be a picture or that can be a PDF, whatever you need to do, okay? An important thing, so you'll upload it as part of your journal entry for week 2, okay? After you complete your journal entry. So also, you need to know where the databases are. So in the library, there are many ways to search. There are the books and the databases. What we're going to be practicing this week is we're going to be practicing using the databases. When you click on databases, there's a whole list. You are going to be using the encyclopedia databases this week. You can also use Academic Search Premier. This is another main database. You'll be using that as part of our discussion forum this week. Now, if you want extra credit this week, you can go and speak with one of our librarians at the reference desk. Again, you can upload that via your journal entry if you provide evidence that, or you can stop by my office and leave in my mailbox like a signed paper by Stephanie or Nancy, the 2 librarians, or leave it under my door. You'll get 5 points extra credit on your journal this week if you actually meet one-on-one with a librarian about this week's project. All right, speaking of which, so this week what you're going to be doing is you're going to be joining the conversation about a topic. Now I have a number of topics listed here. They are natural disasters, immigration, agricultural business in California, the Dust Bowl, global warming, the New Deal, land runs, the Great Depression, environmental catastrophe, Turner's Frontier Thesis, Sonora Bab, and John Steinbeck. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to choose a topic from that list that interests you, okay? And because you're going to be searching for sources, maybe think about some search terms you could use or keywords you could use in regards to that topic. And if you want tips on how to do that, go to page 146 in the Bedford Researcher. That will help you figure out how to develop some search terms, okay? Next, you're going to choose a magazine or database to search for sources at the library. I would really like each of you to begin with an encyclopedia and then go into Academic Search Premier or another database that if you meet with the librarian, she will be able to advise you on another database, but it needs to be an authored source is the key requirement. Then you're going to figure out whether the sources that you found are engaged in the same conversation. And then I'd like you to reflect on the conversation. First, I'd like you to see if I'd like you to analyze those sources and decide, I'd like you to identify sources that seem to address the topic, right? And then decide whether the sources are engaged in the same conversation. Ask whether the sources are addressing the same topic, and if they are, list the ways in which they are talking to one another about the topic, Identify any agreements or disagreements or differences in their approach to the topic. You should identify too why these people are considered experts on this topic. So identify, do they have a degree from a university or background in this area, okay? And then you're gonna reflect on the conversation. You're gonna ask whether the sources you've identified tell you enough to understand the conversation, and you're gonna consider whether you might need to locate more sources to give you a fuller picture of the conversation. You'll post your topic, sources, and reflections as your initial post. And this must be at least 200 words. That's like sea level, okay? Then you're going to end your post with a question to your peers that invites them to join the conversation. So it has to be a question that's going to make them think and that's going to make them interested in responding with critical thinking. That is due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Then you will need to respond to at least 3 of your peers' own posts in a way that extends the conversation by answering their question. And your responses are due by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Each of those responses should be at least 200 words as well. This post is worth 25 points, so please put a lot of effort into it. You are also going to be completing your second research module called Understanding Research. Please make sure you click through and read the content. This module teaches you about our online research unit, but really about what research writing is. And it has some really great videos. And then at the end, there is a quiz. Please make sure, oops, there's a typo here. That's a Tuesday. Please make sure the quiz is due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m., not Thursday, Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. All right, the rest of the chapter talks about how to approach a writing assignment, okay? We've already gone through going to the library, thinking about joining a conversation. Now you're gonna consider what it would be like if I assigned you a paper, which big surprise, that's what I'm gonna be doing next week, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to consider your writing situation. Who are your readers and why would they read your document? Okay. What will influence me and what will influence my readers, right? And what type of document am I writing? All that information will be available in your prompt, right? And also consider the fact that you will always be writing for an academic audience in this class. You want to think about, is it a controversial topic that you're taking on? Is it a controversial stance within a topic that you're taking on? Because that will help you think about how you will approach your writing topic, right? You want to generate ideas about your potential topics, and then you want to choose an appropriate topic based on that work. What we're going to be working on today in our journal this week is we're going to practice generating ideas, okay? So I want you to assume that you've been assigned a 4-page research paper on the topic that you just chose for this week's discussion forum, okay? So whatever topic you used, I want you to continue to work on that topic. In your paper, you're not actually writing a paper, everybody. This is just practicing, okay? In your paper, you're going to join the conversation about your topic and clearly argue one side. For example, do you agree or disagree with how big business agriculture treats water rights in California? If you were writing a paper about this, you would say that you agree or you disagree with how big business agriculture treats water rights in California. So for your journal entry this week, please complete the following My Research Project. Those are these little green boxes that you'll see throughout the chapter. And these are the ones that you're going to be writing to are towards the end of the chapter. Each prompt should be at least 250 words. That's about a page. And so the first one is you're going to generate ideas by brainstorming. That's found on page 21. In your research log, brainstorm responses to the following questions. What do I want to accomplish with this project? What interests me personally about this project? What interests me academically about this project? Who are my readers? What topics do my readers need to read about? What topics would my readers like to read about? Okay. Then you're going to do generate ideas by free writing. So free writing involves writing full sentences quickly without stopping, and most importantly, without editing what you write, okay? You might want to start with one of the ideas. So in your brainstorming just involves listing ideas as they occur to you. So when you did your brainstorming, the list doesn't have to have complete sentences. I know everybody said you have to write in complete sentences, but for brainstorming, you don't. It could just be a bunch of bulleted ideas, right? And it's just to like clear your brain. And then for free writing, you're going to build on something you found through brainstorming. So maybe you found a topic in brainstorming that's interesting you. And for this one, for free writing, you're just going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And for 10 minutes, you're just going to write continuously without editing yourself. And that'll allow you to just kind of tap into parts of your brain that maybe you weren't really like letting yourself use, right? And then the other one we're going to be practicing is looping. So looping is another form of free writing. And during a looping session, you write for a set amount of time, say 5 minutes, which is what we're going to be doing, and then read what you've written. And then as you read, identify one key idea in what you've written, and then write for 5 more minutes about that new key idea. Okay? So we're going to do that, should be a 10-minute exercise as well. And then finally, you're going to practice clustering. And you guys will have already read this chapter, so that's why I'm going so fast through it. For clustering, this is for you visually minded people out there, okay? For clustering, you are going to present your ideas about a potential topic in a graphical form. And there's a picture of it on page 23 in your chapter. Clustering involves presenting your ideas about a potential topic in graphical form. Clustering can help you gain a different perspective on a topic by helping you map out the relationships among your ideas. It can also help you generate new ideas. So if you look at on page 23, you're going to draw like a circle in the middle with your main idea, and then start putting spokes off of that main idea with subtopic ideas, okay? So in the middle of a sheet of paper, in the center of a digital document, right? Just write your potential topic name, and then identify ideas that are related to your central topic and list them near it. Think about the importance and relevance of each related idea, and draw lines and circles to show the relationships among your ideas. Write additional ideas related to the ideas in step 2. In turn, draw lines and circles to show the relationships to the other ideas in your cluster. Repeat the process until you've created a cluster of ideas that represents your current understanding of the topic that you're considering. All right, guys.